What would compel the master of success, Napoleon Hill, the very architect of philosophies designed to unlock human potential and secure lasting achievement, to conceal his most potent work for decades? This is not merely a question of historical curiosity, but one that probes the very depths of human nature, questioning the fabric of our collective consciousness. Imagine a discovery so profound, so utterly disruptive to conventional thought, that its premature unveiling could be perceived as a genuine threat to established systems, or perhaps too challenging for the common mind to truly grasp without misinterpretation. The truth is, his hesitation was not born of personal cowardice, but rather an acute understanding of the world's fragile readiness to confront uncomfortable truths about its own mechanisms of control. He foresaw a resistance, a systemic pushback against a manuscript that dared to expose the unseen chains binding human ambition, the subtle, insidious whispers that stifle nascent genius before it ever takes flight. For within the pages of Outwitting the Devil lies a truth so piercing, so utterly revolutionary in its psychological implications, that its delayed publication speaks volumes about the societal forces Hill dared to challenge. It peels back the layers of illusion, revealing that the path to true, undeniable achievement is often obstructed not primarily by external, tangible obstacles, though those exist, certainly, but by an intricate, insidious, internal adversary. This adversary, this devil, as Hill personified it, operates not with overt malice, but with a cunning, almost paternalistic guidance, steering individuals away from their inherent power, coaxing them into a state of comfortable, self-imposed limitation. Have you ever felt that nagging doubt, that subtle whisper of inadequacy that halts your progress? That sudden loss of motivation? A feeling of being adrift despite your best intentions? These are but fleeting symptoms, momentary glimpses into the grander design of this internal saboteur. Are you prepared, truly prepared, to confront the unseen chains that bind ambition, the pervasive, quiet voices that stifle genius, often masquerading as common sense or cautious wisdom? This is not a casual inquiry. It is an invitation to deep, often uncomfortable, introspection. This journey is not for the faint of heart, nor for those content with superficial answers. It is specifically crafted for those who sense a deeper struggle within, a pervasive, almost invisible influence that seems to dictate their destiny, steering them towards mediocrity despite their inherent potential. You may have diligently studied the laws of success, meticulously planned, and yet found yourself repeatedly falling short, wondering why the application of such profound principles does not yield the promised results. The answer, Hill posited, lies in this very devil, the missing piece of the puzzle, the explanation for why so many fail to apply even the most fundamental laws of personal achievement. What Hill meticulously uncovered in 1938, a blueprint for mental liberation, a detailed exposé of the methods of this internal adversary, remains the primary, most formidable barrier to your success today. The world has changed dramatically since then. Technology has advanced, societies have evolved, yet the fundamental psychological mechanisms of self-sabotage, of fear, of procrastination, of indecision, the very tools of this devil, have only become more sophisticated, more ingrained in our daily lives. They are woven into the fabric of modern distraction, amplified by instant gratification and disguised by overwhelming information. This understanding transcends generations, remaining eternally relevant, perhaps even more so in our current era of ceaseless stimulation and external pressures. We are about to embark on a profound exploration into the mind, guided by the very man who bravely laid bare its most hidden traps. Are you ready to see what has been kept from you, not by an external censor, but by your own conditioned thought patterns? This is your moment to reclaim agency, to understand the game, and most importantly, to win it. Consider for a moment the tumultuous year of 1938. The world itself seemed to be holding its breath, teetering on the precipice of an unimaginable conflict, its nations still reeling from the economic devastation of the Great Depression. It was an era steeped in anxiety, uncertainty, and a pervasive sense of powerlessness, where individuals were often reduced to mere cogs in a larger, seemingly uncontrollable machine. In such an environment, how receptive, truly, could a populace be to a philosophy that demanded absolute self-reliance, unwavering purpose, and a radical ownership of one's own destiny? How willing were people to question the very systems that, however imperfectly, offered a semblance of order amidst chaos? This was the profound context into which Napoleon Hill's manuscript, Outwitting the Devil, sought to emerge, and why perhaps it was ultimately deemed too volatile for its time. Hill, having spent decades meticulously dissecting the lives of the most successful individuals, had uncovered not just the principles of achievement, but also the equally potent, often invisible forces that conspire against it. He understood that true mastery required confronting the antithesis of success, the subtle saboteur lurking in the shadows of the human mind. His intention was to lay bare these mechanisms of mental bondage, to empower the individual to break free. Yet, he faced a formidable dilemma. To publish this work then, he knew, was to invite not only scrutiny, but likely dismissal, perhaps even outright condemnation, from a society that, by its very nature and its prevailing challenges, was deeply invested in external explanations for its misfortunes, rather than internal accountability for its mental landscapes. Was his apprehension born of personal fear, or a shrewd, pragmatic assessment that the seed of such a radical idea would fail to take root in infertile ground? He understood deeply that enlightenment, especially when it challenges deeply held beliefs about control and responsibility, is often met with fierce resistance. His devil was not the fire and brimstone entity of religious dogma, nor some external supernatural force of evil. No, Hill's devil was a far more insidious, far more pervasive antagonist, the collective manifestation of all that holds humanity back from its innate potential. It was the spirit of inertia, the comfortable embrace of indecision, the paralyzing grip of fear, and the unconscious mental drift that allows circumstances to dictate one's life, rather than conscious, purposeful intent. This devil thrives on conformity, on the unquestioning acceptance of conventional wisdom, on the societal programming that encourages dependency rather than independent thought. The book dared to suggest that the very institutions designed to educate, to guide, to protect, from government to education to organized religion, inadvertently, or perhaps even intentionally, played a role in cultivating this mental drift. Hill's work was a direct challenge to the notion that authority should be followed blindly, advocating instead for the supreme authority of the individual mind, guided by a definite chief aim. Such an assertion, delivered into a world seeking solace in conformity and external leadership, would be perceived as not merely controversial, but revolutionary to a dangerous degree. The risk was not just to his reputation, but to the very message he sought to convey. If the public and the powers that be rejected it outright, its profound insights could be lost entirely. Hill understood that the devil he described wasn't merely an abstract concept. It was a psychological architecture so deeply ingrained that it influenced collective consciousness, fostering dependence and discouraging the audacious pursuit of personal genius. To release a text that dissected this architecture, revealing its inner workings and its methods of manipulation, was to hand individuals the blueprint for their own liberation. But was the world ready for such a burden of freedom? Was it ready to admit that its greatest adversary resided not in external foes, but in the unexamined corners of its own mind? He knew that people often prefer the comfort of familiar chains to the terrifying responsibility of true freedom. The wisdom, therefore, had to wait patiently for a generation more open to self-examination, more desperate for true self-mastery, and perhaps more willing to question the fundamental assumptions of their own existence. The timing, he reasoned, was everything. Having grasped the profound reasons for its suppression, we now arrive at the core of Hill's unsettling revelation, the great confession itself. Imagine, if you will, the chilling dialogue between myself and the entity I chose to personify as the devil. This was no theatrical flourish, but a deliberate method to externalize the internal forces that sabotage human potential. It was through this audacious interview that the devil willingly divulged its most cunning tactics, laying bare the elaborate psychological machinery it employs to keep humanity in bondage, not through brute force, but through subtle, almost imperceptible manipulation of the mind. This is not about external circumstances. It is about the internal landscape you inhabit, often without conscious awareness. The devil admitted with an almost chilling pride that its most potent weapon is what I termed deriva, the state of drifting. Pause for a moment and consider your own life. How much of your day, your week, your very existence is truly driven by a clearly defined purpose, an unyielding aim that guides every thought and action? Or do you find yourself propelled by external currents, reacting to stimuli, consuming endless streams of information, yet never truly creating or moving towards a fixed destination? This drifting, this absence of a definite chief aim, is the very bedrock upon which the devil builds its empire. It ensures that the majority of minds remain fragmented, scattered, easily distracted, never consolidating the power of thought towards a single, burning desire. Without a clearly marked destination, any path will do, and often, the path chosen for you is one that serves not your own highest good, but the inertia of the collective, the comfortable mediocrity of the masses. Are you a conscious navigator of your own ship, or merely a passenger caught in the currents of circumstance, waiting for an unknown port? The devil thrives precisely on this lack of internal direction, knowing that a mind without a dominant purpose is a playground for every fleeting impulse and external suggestion. Following closely on the heels of drifting, the devil gleefully confessed its mastery over fear. Not the rational fear of immediate danger, but the insidious, pervasive anxiety that whispers doubts into your ear, that paralyzes action before it even begins. It is the fear of failure, the fear of criticism, the fear of poverty, the fear of loss, even the fear of success itself. Have you ever felt an exciting new idea slowly wither and die within you, strangled by a chorus of what-ifs and, but what if I fail? That crippling hesitancy, that inner voice that rationalizes inaction with 1,000 plausible scenarios of doom. That is the devil at work. It manipulates your deepest insecurities, amplifies every potential setback, until the perceived risks far outweigh the potential rewards. This emotional paralysis ensures that you remain safely within your comfort zone, never daring to stretch beyond its familiar confines. And in that comfort zone, the devil assures itself of your continued subjugation. For growth, true growth, always demands a foray into the unknown, a confrontation with the very fears it instills. The subtle tyranny of fear is that it often masquerades as prudence, as wisdom, convincing you to sacrifice your aspirations for the illusion of safety. Then there is the twin specter of procrastination and indecision, two of the devil's most trusted lieutenants. How many grand plans have been conceived? How many brilliant ideas have sparked into existence, only to be shelved indefinitely with the promise of tomorrow? Later? Soon? When the time is right? These are the sweet lullabies the devil sings to lull your ambition to sleep. Indecision is its silent partner, ensuring that even if you consider action, you remain frozen, weighing options endlessly, perpetually on the verge of commitment, but never quite crossing the threshold. The devil understands that a decision, even a wrong one, is often more valuable than no decision at all. For a decision, once made, sets forces into motion. It creates momentum. It demands accountability. By fostering procrastination and indecision, the devil ensures that you remain perpetually in a state of potential, never actualizing, never truly bringing your dreams into manifest reality. It is a slow, methodical draining of your vital energy, a continuous deferral of your own power. And what of the power of negative habits? The devil revealed that once a mind begins to drift, once fear takes root, and once procrastination becomes a routine, the establishment of self-defeating habits becomes almost inevitable. You become a slave to routines that subtly pull you further and further from your conscious intentions. The endless scrolling, the mindless consumption, the avoidance of challenging tasks, the seeking of instant gratification over long-term reward. These are not mere weaknesses, but meticulously crafted chains forged by repeated unconscious choices. You might find yourself locked into patterns of thought and behavior that you consciously despise, yet feel powerless to break free from. This is the ultimate victory for the devil, to have you actively participate in your own subjugation, to make your own hands forge the very bonds that limit your freedom. It is the insidious art of making you believe that your worst inclinations are simply who you are, rather than learned behaviors that can be unlearned. Have you truly examined the invisible threads of habit that dictate your daily rhythm, shaping not only your actions, but your very thoughts and feelings? This is where the true power of the devil resides, in the unchallenged routines of your existence. Having illuminated the shadows where the devil weaves its subtle traps, revealing its insidious tactics of mental drift, paralyzing fear, endless procrastination, and the cultivation of destructive habits, we now turn a crucial corner. The purpose of this revelation is not to instill despair, but to empower. For every cunning ploy, for every manipulative whisper the devil employs, there exists a counter-tactic, a mental weapon forged in the very fires of self-mastery that Hill meticulously identified through decades of research. We move from understanding the problem to actively engaging in the solution, from being controlled to taking resolute command of our own inner domain. This is where the true fight for personal freedom begins, not on an external battleground, but within the vast and potent expanse of your own mind. The principles I have identified are not abstract theories. They are practical instruments for liberation, tools to be wielded with precision and unwavering faith. The first, and perhaps most vital weapon against the devil's favored tactic of mental drift is the definite chief aim. Consider the profound difference between merely wishing for something and possessing a burning, unyielding desire, translated into a concrete, meticulously detailed plan for its achievement. The devil thrives in the vacuum of indecision, in the sprawling, undefined landscape of a mind without a dominant purpose. But when you declare your definite chief aim, when you engrave it upon the tablets of your subconscious mind with absolute conviction, you erect an impenetrable shield. This aim becomes a focal point, an undeniable compass that guides every thought, every action, every decision. It concentrates your mental energy, pulling scattered thoughts into a cohesive, unstoppable force, repelling distractions as iron repels a magnet. How clear, truly, is your definite chief aim? Is it merely a fleeting hope, a vague aspiration whispered in moments of fleeting inspiration, or is it a tangible command you issue to your subconscious, an absolute decree that tolerates no deviation? Without this unwavering beacon, you remain vulnerable, a rudderless ship at the mercy of every passing current, every whisper of doubt, every external influence that seeks to pull you off course. This aim is not simply a goal, it is the very declaration of your spiritual and intellectual sovereignty. Following the establishment of a definite chief aim, the relentless assault of procrastination and indecision, those sly agents of the devil, must be met with the unwavering discipline of mind. This is not about some mythical, superhuman willpower that arrives in bursts of heroic effort. No. It is about the cultivation of consistent, decisive action, a trained mental muscle that instinctively moves towards execution rather than delay. The devil cunningly encourages you to postpone, to defer, to rationalize inaction, promising that tomorrow will be a better, more opportune moment. But tomorrow, as we know, often never truly arrives with the promised clarity or convenience. Discipline of mind is the counterforce that demands immediate, purposeful action, even if it is a small, seemingly insignificant step. It teaches your mind to do rather than to delay, to implement rather than merely to contemplate. Have you cultivated this inner commander, this relentless executor of your plans? Is your mental muscle toned for consistent execution? Or does it habitually succumb to the seductive path of least resistance, allowing the devil to whisper sweet nothings of postponement? To develop this discipline is to consistently train your thoughts and actions towards your definite chief aim, recognizing that every small act of decisive execution strengthens your resolve and weakens the grip of inertia. It transforms potential into progress, mere intention into tangible results. When faced with the inevitable setbacks, the perceived failures that the devil eagerly exploits to instill paralyzing fear, we must wield the profound power of learning from adversity. The devil wants you to view every challenge as a confirmation of your inadequacy, every obstacle as an insurmountable wall, every temporary defeat as a final verdict. It wants you to retreat, to surrender your ambition to the comforting illusion of safety. But this is where Hill's philosophy radically reframes the very nature of struggle. Adversity, in this enlightened view, is not failure. It is a disguised opportunity, a stern but invaluable teacher. Every setback, every perceived defeat, every moment of difficulty contains within it the seed of an equal or even greater advantage. Fear blinds us to this truth, prevents us from extracting the hidden lesson, the strategic insight that the devil desperately hopes you will miss. Do you retreat when confronted with a perceived defeat, allowing it to solidify your fears? Or do you stand firm, dissecting the experience for the invaluable wisdom it contains, understanding that even the greatest successes are built upon a foundation of countless attempts and strategic adjustments? This profound shift in perspective transforms obstacles into stepping stones, cultivating a courage that is not the absence of fear, but the unwavering commitment to progress despite it. It is the understanding that failure is merely feedback, a compass pointing you towards the next, more effective iteration of your plan. Finally, to overcome the devil's tendency to thrive in isolation, to feed on negativity, and to encourage conformity to lower standards, we must actively embrace the profound principle of the power of environment and the master mind. The devil preys on the isolated mind, amplifying doubts and reinforcing limiting beliefs. It wants you to believe that you are alone in your struggles, that your aspirations are idiosyncratic or even foolish. But Hill understood that no great achievement is ever truly realized in solitude. The mastermind principle is a collective shield, a powerful force multiplier for ambition. It is the coordination of knowledge and effort of two or more people who work toward a definite purpose in a spirit of perfect harmony. This conscious choice to surround yourself with harmonious minds, individuals who are aligned with your definite chief aim, who elevate your thoughts, challenge your limitations, and reinforce your highest aspirations, creates an almost impenetrable bulwark against the devil's influence. It prevents conformity to the lower standards of average thinking and provides mutual encouragement, accountability, and the synergistic power of shared intellect and energy. Who then are you allowing into your most intimate mental space? Does your inner circle elevate your thoughts, challenge your limitations, and actively reinforce your definite chief aim? Or do they, perhaps inadvertently, strengthen the devil's grip by fostering doubt, cynicism, or comfortable mediocrity? To consciously curate your environment and forge mastermind alliances is to strategically position yourself for unwavering progress, ensuring that the collective wisdom and energy of your chosen associates become an unstoppable force for your good, a fortress against the devil's attempts to isolate and conquer. These are not abstract concepts. They are vital, actionable strategies for securing your mental sovereignty. Having armed ourselves with the potent counter-tactics against the insidious manipulations of the devil, the clarity of a definite chief aim, the unwavering resolve of a disciplined mind, the profound wisdom gleaned from adversity, and the synergistic power of the mastermind principle, we now arrive at a critical juncture. It is here that the weight of Napoleon Hill's original apprehension truly comes into focus, and where the ultimate challenge for you, the individual seeker of truth and mastery, is presented. Consider once more why Hill, the man who championed courage and self-belief, might have hesitated to release this manuscript in his own lifetime. Was it truly a fear for himself? Or was it, as I posited, a deeper, more profound concern for the collective consciousness of humanity, an understanding that the world, at that specific moment, was simply not ready to confront the uncomfortable mirror he held up to its face? His fear, you see, was not the trembling of a man afraid of personal repercussion. It was the strategic foresight of a general who understood that revealing the enemy's blueprint prematurely, before the troops were adequately trained or psychologically prepared, could lead to chaos and a far greater defeat. He knew that the truths contained within Outwitting the Devil were so radically empowering, so thoroughly demanding of personal accountability, that many would recoil from their implications. People, in their essence, often prefer the comforting illusion of external blame, the familiar security of societal conformity, to the terrifying, boundless responsibility of true self-governance. He was offering the keys to mental freedom, a blueprint for escaping psychological prisons. But he also knew that for many, the familiar shackles, however constricting, felt safer than the vast, uncharted territory of absolute autonomy. The burden of genuine freedom, the responsibility for every thought, every decision, every outcome, is immense. It is easier, far easier, to remain a drifter, to allow the currents of circumstance to carry you, to accept the comfortable narrative of external forces dictating your fate. 80 years have now passed since those words were penned, since that profound conversation between myself and the devil took place within the confines of Hill's discerning mind. And what has truly changed? The technological landscape has been utterly transformed. Our modes of communication, our access to information, our material comforts, all have soared beyond the wildest dreams of 1938. Yet, the fundamental tactics of the devil remain precisely the same, remarkably consistent in their efficacy. The same forces of mental drift, the same paralyzing fears, the same subtle seductions of procrastination, the same insidious cultivation of negative habits continue to hold sway over the majority of minds. The tools have merely adapted to the modern environment, becoming perhaps even more sophisticated, more seamlessly integrated into the fabric of our daily distractions. The endless scroll of information, the constant clamor for attention, the pervasive culture of instant gratification, these are but modern manifestations of the devil's timeless strategies to keep minds scattered, unfocused, and perpetually reacting rather than consciously creating. The profound difference, however, lies in this very moment. With the insights gleaned from these pages, from this exploration, you now know. You are no longer merely susceptible to these forces. You are aware of their existence, their methods, and their ultimate aim. The veil has been lifted. The invisible enemy has been given a face, its strategies laid bare. This book, Outwitting the Devil, is not a casual read for intellectual curiosity. It is, in its truest sense, a manual of war. It is a strategic guide for the internal battlefield, offering precise instructions for identifying, confronting, and ultimately conquering the forces that seek to derail your aspirations and diminish your spirit. It demands active engagement, relentless self-observation, and an unshakable commitment to personal sovereignty. To merely read it is insufficient. One must embody its principles, integrate its lessons, and apply its wisdom with the disciplined rigor of a seasoned warrior. Are you prepared to treat this knowledge not as fleeting information, but as an indispensable weapon in your quest for mastery? Do you recognize the immense power that now resides within you simply by virtue of this newfound understanding? This brings us to the ultimate, most critical question, one that demands a deep, unvarnished self-assessment. What will you choose? Will you continue to be a drifter, tossed about by the whims of circumstance, swayed by the subtle manipulations of your inner devil, sacrificing your vast potential for the illusion of comfort and the fleeting pleasure of immediate gratification? Will you allow fear to dictate your actions, procrastination to steal your time, and indecision to paralyze your progress? Or will you, armed with the timeless wisdom of Napoleon Hill, choose to fight? Will you choose to actively engage in the glorious battle for the dominion of your own mind, to seize control of your thoughts, to command your destiny with purpose and unwavering resolve? This is not merely an intellectual exercise. This is the defining choice of your existence, the crossroads where mere existence diverges from a life lived with profound purpose and unassailable freedom. The choice, as always, has been, is, and always will be yours alone. We have journeyed together through the veiled pages of history, unearthed the profound reasons behind a legendary concealment, and confronted the unsettling confessions of an entity Hill personified as the Devil. We meticulously exposed its timeless tactics, the seductive drift, the paralyzing fear, the insidious procrastination, the comfortable chains of negative habit, and, crucially, we have illuminated the potent counter-strategies, the unwavering beacon of a definite chief aim, the relentless execution of a disciplined mind, the alchemical transformation of adversity into wisdom, and the synergistic power of the mastermind principle. This has not been a mere recounting of history or a theoretical discussion. It has been an initiation, a revelation designed to awaken within you a profound understanding of the forces that shape, or indeed, attempt to enslave, your destiny. The power of this message, once deemed too dangerous for its time, resonates with an even greater urgency in our complex, distracted modern world. For the devil's methods, though ancient, adapt with insidious precision to every new era, preying on the very vulnerabilities that define our age. Now, as this exploration draws to its close, the true weight of this knowledge shifts from my voice to your consciousness. The insights shared, the truths unveiled, are not meant to remain as mere intellectual curiosities. They are the seeds of a revolution, a quiet uprising within the confines of your own skull. The question is no longer what Napoleon Hill discovered, but what you will do with that discovery. What specific tactic of this internal devil has resonated most deeply within your own experience? Which whisper of doubt, which urge to procrastinate, which comfortable surrender to drift do you now recognize as an enemy within, rather than an unchangeable aspect of your character? To acknowledge it, to name it, is the first, most powerful step towards its utter vanquishing. I urge you, in the spirit of active, conscious engagement, to reflect on this. To publicly declare your intention is to add another layer of commitment, to harness the power of explicit recognition. Let that intention be known in the comments below. Do not hoard this enlightenment. The principles of success, the strategies for overcoming internal resistance, are not meant for solitary contemplation. They are meant to be shared, to be amplified, to ignite similar awakenings in others who may still be caught in the devil's subtle snares. Consider those around you, friends, family, colleagues. who might be floundering in indecision, paralyzed by fear, or simply drifting without purpose. Your willingness to share this message, to disseminate these liberating truths, becomes an act of profound service, extending the light of conscious awareness to those who desperately need it. Engage with this content. Interact with it. Let your thoughts and questions become part of a larger dialogue, a collective mastermind dedicated to the pursuit of individual and collective mastery. For in spreading this knowledge, you not only empower others, but you solidify your own understanding, strengthening the very principles you seek to embody. Subscribe to this channel, for this journey of discovery and mastery is continuous, and there are always more layers to uncover, more insights to assimilate. But for those who demand more, for those who feel an unquenchable thirst for deeper immersion, for an unvarnished and uncompromising personal encounter with these truths, I implore you, acquire Outwitting the Devil. Do not treat it as just another book, another item to be consumed and forgotten. Treat it as a direct transmission of knowledge, a personal mentorship from the grave, designed to dissect your own mental programming and equip you with the strategic clarity to reclaim your inherent power. It is an experience, a dialogue that transcends time, inviting you into a direct confrontation with the very forces that have held humanity back for millennia. The written word, when imbued with such profound intent, possesses a unique power to penetrate the subconscious, to rewire beliefs, and to ignite an unshakable resolve. Your journey to mastery, your ultimate liberation from the devil's subtle tyranny, truly begins with that deliberate act of seeking out and absorbing the wisdom contained within its pages. It is not merely reading, it is a commitment to profound internal transformation. Remember this above all else, for it is the bedrock of all personal achievement, the immutable truth that underlies every principle of success. Your mind is your ultimate battlefield. It is there and only there that the true struggle for your destiny is waged. The devil seeks to conquer it through cunning, through distraction, through fear. But within that same mind resides the indomitable power to choose, to create, to assert your will with unwavering conviction. And in that epic internal struggle, you, and only you, possess the power to win. The choice to wield that power, to claim that victory, is irrevocably yours.